Sunday, January 21st, 2024. We're at block height number 826,757, ladies and gentlemen. Tick tock, next block. Big news today. Ron DeSantis decided to do the smart thing or the dumb thing, and I'll get into that in a second. Man, that guy, he dropped out of the the race because he had to. You know, he had no other choice. And I think the last 48 to 72 hours or maybe longer, he was trying to figure out what is he going to do with his career, because he has literally shot himself in the foot. You know, he went from hero to zero so quickly, man. He was the heir apparent to Donald Trump. Donald Trump gave him the nod, or gave him his endorsement to become the governor the first time, and the second time, rightfully so, because he did the job the first go round. But then he squandered it, man, and decided to shoot himself in the foot and go against MAGA, Make America Great Again movement. That's a whole nother gang of people that you don't want to mess with in this country, man. I believe they're stronger than the Republican Party. The Republican Party is weak. Now, there are a lot of Republicans that are part of MAGA, but at the end of the day, if you're a politician in America in today's world, Donald Trump is the man. Okay, he's like the mob boss on that side of the aisle, and in the MAGA movement, and you just cannot sit there and try to go against him. All he had to do, because Vivek did the same thing, he went against him too, but he did it with class. He talked good about him. He gave him compliments, and he basically said, "I'm here because I'm younger. I think I could do a little bit better job of Trump." You know, Trump got a little bit duped, but he was always very careful how he talked about Trump. He never talked bad about him, despite the media trying to get him to say things bad about him. But he ran a campaign basically saying, "Hey, I'm kind of like the backup plan to the America First movement, because it's obvious that Nikki Neocon Haley or Nikki Clinton or Hillary Haley is not she's the farthest thing from America First." And I call Ron DeSantis a cyborg. He's like 70% or 60% America First and 40% establishment. He just is. And for him to get on that stage at the debates, and when they asked him, "Hey, are you gonna back Donald Trump? Or are you gonna try to help him out if he goes to prison?" or all these questions, he just looked around and didn't want to raise his hand. And Vivek raised his hand. Everything Vivek did as far as running a campaign in this climate now, this is not the 80s or the 90s. This is the 2020s, where Donald Trump is the man, and everybody knows he's the man on the right side of the MAGA side. Ron DeSantis, if he just followed in his footsteps and just sat back, and again, he shouldn't even ran for president, period, Ron DeSantis. But if he had to do it, he should have talked to Donald Trump first. Say, "Hey, listen, this is why I'm doing it. I'm trying to get up, get some, more America First people that really like me, that, maybe not as much as you, this, that, and the third. And then once things collapse, and you're the nominee, then I'll just go ahead and be your vice president, and we'll just roll with it like that." But he decided to not only go against Donald Trump, but to talk bad about Donald Trump and to diss Donald Trump. And that, to me, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who advised him. He has the worst advisors, the worst campaign. This guy went from one of, if not the greatest governor in our country's history for a state, for what he did in 2020. I commend him for what he did. Now, the Floridians, a lot of them that don't like him, MAGA ones, say he didn't do a good job. It's all a farce, but whatever. He went from the greatest governor and at the same time the worst presidential campaign in history. And it's sad, man. So now he went up there and reluctantly made a speech basically saying, "Hey, I quit. I can't do it anymore," because he just couldn't do it. He should have did it right after Iowa, in my opinion, right when Vivek did it. Vivek is always a couple of steps ahead of these dudes, man. These clowns, right? He was ahead on stage at the debates when he said he'd back up Trump, or he'd pardon him, or he'd vote for him, or whatever. Everything he did that. And then once, also in Miami, when Trump's indictments first came down, a lot of people don't know that Vivek Ramaswamy is down there in Miami filling out paperwork. And then he said also with the Colorado thing and the Maine thing, he said they're going to drop him off the ballot. I'm going to do that too. And numerous things that Vivek showed you, that not only am I a leader, but I'm part of the MAGA First movement. And it's not about me. It's about the United States of America and its Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and this great country. And it looked like to me that Ron DeSantis just either was bought and paid for to do this. And again, he's a cyborg. Part of that, 30-40% of him being an establishment, or he's just stupid, to be honest. So he made that speech today, and he says basically saying, I didn't want to win. I didn't want to drop out. The only reason I'm dropping out because I can't win, and I'm only backing Donald Trump is because I said on stage that I would back, and he signed the pledge that's saying that whoever is the Republican nominee, I will back that person. But basically, he kind of dissed Donald Trump too. Try to show the differences in this. Dude, if I was Donald Trump, on a side note, I wouldn't have that man anywhere near the White House. Now, I would not use him, but I would team up with him if he wants to help with the campaign and stuff until November, until the election. Hey, you want to help me get votes? That's fine. That's cool. And then reevaluate from there. But I wouldn't trust Ron DeSantis. You know what I'm saying? I would not trust him. I would definitely not have him as my VP, and I wouldn't have him part of the cabinet as of now. But we'll see. Donald Trump is a very forgiving man, especially when you kiss his butt. And I think Ron DeSantis, if he wants his career to get back on track, he's got a lot of butt kissing to do, I'll say. Okay. So anyway, so let's talk about the Bitcoin ETF. I was wrong about that initially because I said once the Bitcoin ETFs drop, the price is going to shoot up. And it did for a couple of minutes, maybe an hour or two. It went up to like 49,000 from like 46. But there's a couple things I didn't anticipate, honestly. I looked at Bitcoin or the situation of the ETFs like a bucket with some water pouring in. I just thought the floodgates of money would be flooding in, and then it would just fill up. The problem is the bucket was already almost filled up, meaning it was already baked in and priced in over the last month or two because, it went from 20-something thousand and it notched up to 44,000 in about a month and a half or something like that. So that was baked into the cookies. And also, I didn't foresee Grayscale, GPTC, because they had 600-something thousand Bitcoin. I didn't know about their 1.5% fees that they already had versus BlackRock and everybody else were very, very low fees. And what happened was the volume of Bitcoin that was coming out of Grayscale was almost as much, if not more, than the money coming in to the ETFs because they were selling off because a lot of people were getting out of GPTC. And also there were traders and people that, took profits, quote unquote. There are a lot of people that, that the money that was baked into the cookies, once they bought in at 27 or 28 or 32 or 35 and it went up to 46 and 45 and 48, they cashed out. And these people made, quote unquote, millions of dollars. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. But the problem is that can't keep going. GPTC is going to keep selling off, but that's going to stop. But as of now, these ETFs are still gobbling up this Bitcoin. And on a side note, the other day when I made that video about silver, saying, Bitcoin's better than silver, a scam or whatever, I didn't know. But later on that day, I found out that the ETFs in 4, 5, or 6 trading days has already surpassed the volume of silver's volume in its whole history. So, guys, you're getting ready to look at a supply and a demand shot that's going to be crazy. Because, again, these ETFs for these 11 companies, the 9 major ones, they're buying at about a 10,000 Bitcoin a day clip. Now, is that going to slow down? Probably. You know what I mean? But they're buying a lot and they're holding it. Remember, when the regular people or the regular folks buy this Bitcoin, what do they do with it? They keep it with BlackRock. You know what I mean? And these companies, ARK Invest and all that. And they are looking to get their hands on as many Bitcoin as you can. Do not think for a second, guys, that me, you, or anybody else that's watching these videos or on Twitter are smarter than these people. They understand Bitcoin and they are going to gobble up and they're going to keep it and they're going to try to get your Bitcoin. And I'm going to make a video specifically telling you why you should never sell your Bitcoin to BlackRock or any of these companies with an ETF. So I was wrong about that initially, but I think with the halving coming up and everything else, again, you got to look at 4-year cycles. And there's not a lot of Bitcoin left on the exchanges, and the traders that went in initially and made their quote unquote profits, they're still going to be doing it at a small clip. But this is only, first 2 weeks or something trading. So guys, we got a long way to go. So, all right. Now I wanted to answer a question from one of my very, very loyal viewers that have been watching the channel for a while. His name is Sean. His handle is Sean Covert 5447. He's a precious metal stacker. He's been watching my channel for a long time. Good guy, man. Sean, I really appreciate everything you do for this channel. Always watching, leave me a like, always commenting. And guys, if you guys ever want to help the channel again, that really helps, man. I really appreciate what you do, Sean. All right, so I'm going to read his question, and I'm going to answer some of the stuff while I'm talking to him. So he says, useful content, Jerry. As for me, I'm hearing what you're putting down. Thank you, man. I'm going to hold for the long term as well. Smart man. As I get to where I want to be, I'm going to hold and forget about what I accumulated. Good. That's smart. Very smart. As they say, out of sight, out of mind. Thinking that would be the best move for me and my situation. I don't know everything I need to know about Bitcoin, but I'm going to stand by idle, not buying because of that reason. I'm getting in while I still can and afford to. In the meantime, continue to research and study this area for when the time comes I feel comfortable enough to start making moves. Okay, let me stop right there. Okay, you made a good comment right there. You said, only I'm getting in while I still can afford to. You can always afford to buy as much as you can, Sean. And the reason why I'm answering this email is because a lot of you guys think the same thing. When you see Bitcoin at 40-something thousand, even if it gets up to 200-something thousand a coin, you still can buy $10 a day, $20 a day, $50 a day, whatever you can afford to buy per week, per month, per day, per every 2 weeks, pay period, whatever. You're just going to get less Bitcoin. Because remember, there's 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin. Now, you're going to get less if the price goes up, but you can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Right now, you can get 2,000 something sats for every dollar that you spend. Now, it'll probably go down as the prices go up. But if the price goes down and it dips, then you'll get more Satoshis per dollar. So again, Sean, you can buy as much Bitcoin, or you can spend as much as you want with the fiat currency, just depending on the price, you get more or less. I will be ahead of the game, so they say. In my opinion, those who wait are the ones that's going to lose out, not unless they have deep pocket. I haven't got a clue if this is a good strategy. It is a good strategy, bro. Very good strategy. But it's now or never at this time for me. Jerry, would love to hear your opinion on this view that I have. Plus, I know you will be straight up with me, and that's exactly what I need to hear. Thanks, brother. Thank you, Sean. Don't thank me. Thank you, bro. Yeah, just the main thing, Sean, and everybody that's listening to this is only buy enough Bitcoin or buy the Bitcoin up to your level. But the key thing is, and this is the hard part, I'm telling you this is the hard part, you got to study Bitcoin. And how do you study it? You watch video after video. The main YouTube channel I always talk about is Bitcoin University. You can go there. If you're a book reader, there's a list of books in my description box. There's all kind of podcasts and everything else. And get your hand on all the stuff, because again, it's going to take you a lot of hours to understand this at a basic level. I'm just telling you that. A good source to go to is Robert Breedlove's podcast he did with Michael Saylor back in 2020. I think it was like a 9-part thing. Type in Robert Breedlove and Michael Saylor. That's a really good. I watched that back in late 2020, early 2021. Man, Michael Saylor. Nobody talks about Bitcoin or could break it down better than him. That's good. But there's a lot of resources out here, guys. But again, you gotta buy and hold Bitcoin, knowing that you're going to hold it for a 4-year cycle, 210,000 blocks. But buy up to your knowledge. Remember, nothing is guaranteed. This is not financial advice, by the way. But yeah, just keep on learning. Keep on learning and keep on stacking. If you guys are precious metal stackers, and most of you are, stack them sats, man. You guys know about stacking. We're in a situation, man, that we're coming across this crazy asset, this crazy invention, this crazy game changer in its first 15 years. In the next 15 years, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to stack this stuff. Gold and silver is not going anywhere. Again, I'm not telling you not to buy gold and silver, but when I go into the coin shops, there's plenty of it. Okay. There's not a lot of Bitcoin on the exchanges and everybody's trying to get their hands on it. And we're at about a less than or right up to like a 1% adoption. You guys are extremely early. So again, man, I say this once, I say this all the time. You work your ass off for your money. And I traded in all my precious metals for Bitcoin. And the reason why I did that is because I want to save. I want to protect myself and my family from inflation. And silver was a great savings account. It was. But to me, the best savings account, and to me, the only savings account, is Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.